Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for this. So, we're continuing our coverage of Chris Claremont's run of X-Men. Now, we're not just going to do X-Men, we're going to get to New Mutants. We're going to do everything in reading order. So, we are right now doing Classic X-Men. The reason I choose Classic X-Men is two things. Number one, this is how I discovered a lot of these things. When I was young, Classic X-Men came out, and I was hooked. I became an X-Men fan in middle school. A buddy of mine brought X-Men, and I was like, oh, this is kind of. She just started talking about the X-Men, and I go, okay, I'll give it a shot. And I started picking it up, but then these Classic X-Men came up, and I was like, whoa. And so, Classic X-Men has a lot of exposition and a lot of filling in the gap. So it is a better reading experience. So here we got a cover by Carrie Gamble. I do have a playlist, and it is available, and everything starting with Classic X-Men #1. So Classic X-Men #1 covers X-Men 119. Here's the original cover by Dave Cockrum. So it kind of tells you here what the plot of the issue is. And then it tells you the supplemental material, because each issue had supplemental material. And then it has a backup story. So a lot of exposition, a lot of filling in the gaps. I love it. Absolutely love it. So here's the cover full sized. I don't know why John Byrne didn't do the cover and they went back to Cockrum. But, and of course, a Classic X-Men had no commercials, no ads, and it was cover to cover. So when you opened the issue on the cover side, which would normally have an ad, there was this piece here. So it went straight. It was story all the way through. Like I said, no covers. I think this is Banshee's last. He may show up a couple more times, but we're nearing to the end of Banshee's run here. So, all right. So here is Storm going through. There's our target, Kurt. Are you ready? She says. As ready as I'll ever be, I guess. I've spotted where I want to land. You know, Ororo, even though this Verruct stunt was my idea, he says, I wish there was another way. And he teleports. I love the sound. Baff. Good luck, my friend, says Storm. And so he shows up. Bingo. Now maybe I can breathe again. I couldn't let Storm see how scared I was. One mistake and I could have teleported myself half in, half out of that steel floor. Unfortunately, I landed at the very top of the complex. I can't do Cyclops and the others much good up from here. I've got to get inside, which means getting past this guard without making a fuss. He was taking a smoke break. Nightcrawler catches him with his tail, hits him, and knocks him out. He should be unconscious long enough for me to do my job. Wolverine would have handled it differently, but I haven't his instinct for the jugular. So Nightcrawler continues thinking here. Once more, unto the breach, dear friends. The X-Men are off to save the world, or a small part of it anyway. You'd think after all we've been through, I'd be used to this sort of thing, but I still can't believe it's happening. The one man can offhandedly condemned 100 million people to death. So we get a bit of a not a flashback, but kind of just filling in the gaps of how we got from where we were to where we are now. You all heard the ultimatum. Surrender by midnight tonight or Japan will be destroyed. But Hiro-sama, is that possible? Says Nightcrawler. Theoretically, yes. Earth The Earth under Japan is inherently unstable. If sufficient tectonic pressure is applied along these critical fault lines, the home islands will shatter. The obliteration last night of port of Agatashima was the most effective demonstration that this threat is no bluff. The man responsible, Moses Magnum, self-proclaimed heir to Anthony Stark's title of arms dealer to the world. He's brilliant, strong, ruthless, and very, very lucky. Twice he's been reported killed. Twice he survived. So this year would have been in Spider-Man, Giant Size Spider-Man number 5 and Power Man Annual 1. So, being that Chris Claremont was writing Power Man during those times, I assume that this is one of the villains that he chose to bring. You know, when I was young, I thought Chris Claremont was girl for some reason. I didn't realize it was Christopher. I thought it was like Christine, and it was Chris. I don't know why, but I just thought of that. Anyway, so we continue here. Thanks to the investigative works of my grandniece Colleen Wing and her partner Misty Knight, we at least know Magnum's base, the small group of volcanic islets in the Kuril chain. Its defenses are reported impregnable. No such thing. Magnum has also made it abundantly clear that at the first sign of any attack, he will trigger his Magnum Force. That is where you young people come in. Can you reach Magnum, Cyclops, and stop him before he unleashes this monstrous power against us? I don't know, Mr. Osama. There are many alternatives. None. Sorry, are there any alternatives? None. The Prime Minister has already informed the Emperor that he will not yield. If you seven cannot save us, then Nippon is doomed. So I had to look up that Nippon is actually the native name to Japan. Just like, so I'm Puerto Rican, and in Puerto Rico, the native name is Borinquen. So Nippon is the native name to what we all call Japan. So, all right. So here's Nightcrawler here. Nightcrawler to home plate. I'm inside the crater. No problems yet. Over. Home plate copies. Be ready to move. I'm calling Storm and be careful, Fuzzy. One strikeout and the ball game's over, says Misty. Banshee, Misty Knight is signaling. She says we are to attack. And, Banshee says, fine with me, because I'm all tanked up and raring to go. So he's using his sonic scream here to cause problems with this satellite here. And so these people say that there's a problem and they'll notify Magnum. And Nightcrawler says, the alarm, just Cyclops' plans. Storm and Banshee are drawing everyone's attention, leaving me free to sneak down to the basement off this erector set Disneyland. I must move fast, too. Cyclops and his team are depending on me to find them a safe route into this rock before they run out of air. So you can see that Nightcrawler is kind of camouflaging into the dark here. So these guards are coming up, and Storm's there. And here comes Banshee using the scream. It's too much for this guy. So the battle goes all too well, thinks Storm. But our victories mean nothing if Magnum is allowed to fire his doomsday weapon. Banshee and I are doing our part. The next move is Cyclops, she says. Lightning rips up the crater constantly now, illuminating a sky that's heavy with thunderclouds. As Storm's powers begin to affect weather patterns around the island, the disruption spreads quickly like ripples across the pond. At the same time, just offshore, about 100 feet below the seabed, the rest of the X-Men and Sunfire are making their way toward the Magnum in a style uniquely their own. And Cyclops asks, "How's your power holding up, Sunfire?" And he says, "I have sufficient, but I would prefer using a more direct attack. Stealing up in a tunnel. Stealing up with Magnum with this tunnel. I feel more like a thief in the night than a samurai." And Colossus asks Wolverine if he's okay with the heat, and he says, "I've stood worse." And of course, the only way of reaching the heart of Magnum's complex undetected. It's the only way. And so it's hot. And part of the reason it's hot is because as they dig, they are actually not too far from volcanic magma. So it would be a lot hotter there. The further down you go, so at first it's cool, but if you keep going further and further down, it starts to get warm. So we continue here. Cyclops says, "Still no signal from Nightcrawler. Without his radio beam to give us a precise target, we're stuck. Tunneling blind, we could punch through the ocean instead of Magnum's base. Where are you, mister? We're running out of time and air," he says. And so Nightcrawler arrives. "This chamber looks perfect, but it took longer than I thought to find it. I better activate the Homer. Cyclops must be getting worried." And he goes, "What is that sound?" There's Nightcrawler's signal. "Follow my lead, Sunfire. My receiver has pinpointed his location, and then cut loose with everything you've got." So suddenly, boom. And of course, Colossus is like, "Fresh air. I did not know anything could smell so good. Nightcrawler, friend Kurt, where are you?" And Moses Magnum says, "He is here, X-Men, but in no shape to answer. I am master of the earth, Armored One. No one moves through it without my being aware of them." Okay. So, and you thought you could take me by surprise. You have failed. And as I dealt with your misanthropic companion, so shall I deal with you. And boom. And so, Colossus is always being punched hard. Goodness gracious. By the White Wolf, I did it. I love By the White Wolf. He says that quite a bit. But once again, I have let my comrades down. I'm supposed to be the strongest X-Men, yet of late I have been as much use to them as a walking punching bag. And so that will happen no more. From this moment on, Colossus earns his keep, and off he goes. Mad Colossus is the best Colossus. So this is madness. Magnum's I cannot say that word. Dossier? Maybe dossier. I don't know. Dossier. It's a French word. But anyway, I know what it means. It's just pronouncing it is dossier. Whatever. All right. His file said he was a normal human, yet he fires bolts like that hit like atom bombs. And Cyclops tells Wolverine to watch out, and he's like, "No sweat, boss. I'm ready for him." Man, Cyclops and Wolverine are getting to be good buddies. And so Magnum says, "Is that so? I am power. I am not the man I was, X-Men. I am no longer a man." Okay, sorry. So it's this way, then this way. All right. And he punches Wolverine backhanded, and he's like, "Ugh. My God," he decked Wolverine. "Sunfire, blast an opening to the outside. We need Storm and Banshee's help." "I go, Cyclops." And he thinks, "But I fear even your friends won't be enough. Magnum is taking our strongest energy beams and laughing them off." So Sunfire makes a hole here. "Banshee, Cyclops is calling us on the radio. He sounds desperate." And so, "I could destroy you where you stand, mutant, but why should I waste my power when my Mark II mandroids can do it for me?" And Cyclops says, "Oh, brother, I picked a heck of a time for a one-man stand." So Colossus shows up. "No. Send 2 of your metal monsters against the X-Men, madman, or send 200. Colossus will smash them all." And so Colossus is now taking a stand here, punches them and throws this guy away. And Moses Magnum says, "You've won a battle, mutant, but you'll lose the war. I swore that if attacked, I would destroy Japan, and by all the devils in hell, destroy it I shall." And Banshee thinks, "Heads up, Sean, me bucko. Magnum's taking a powder." And so he goes after him. And so too slow, curse the luck. He got away. I must be getting old. But once I blast these doors, I'll. No good. Something's deflecting me sonic scream. What now? We can't stand here and let Magnum sink Japan. Wait a minute. Mr. Osama said that his scientists figured the Agarashima quake was triggered by an intense beam of energy. And on the radio, I heard Sunfire screaming about Magnum firing energy blasts. It's a long shot, but I've got to play it. If the Magnum Force is some kind of energy beam, then I'm the only X-Men who has the prayer in stopping it. Cyclops, get everyone off the rock, and for pity's sake, hurry. And so here comes Magnum here. I warned them, but those senile old fools in Tokyo wouldn't listen. Now they'll learn once and for all that Moses Magnum is not to be trifled with. So he goes here where there's laser drilled, and it's aimed to the center of the earth. And he's going to use his power here it says here, into the shaft, his laser drill has bored to the center of the earth. So this is back in Power Man #1. And so here's Kerry Gamble kind of illustrating that. You know, this is before Jim Lee. And let me tell you, this is Jim Lee-ish in what he's doing here. Jim Lee, I think, was maybe doing Alpha Flight, if even. This is 88, so yeah, I think he was. But he wasn't the Jim Lee that we know of yet. So that's very interesting with all the hatching that's being done. And so they're saying here that he fell. And someone here caught him. He says, "Welcome, Moses Magnum. You're a difficult man to get a hold of. Who are you? What is this place? Why am I here?" So it turns out that it's Apocalypse. Now, this is all new. This obviously isn't John Byrne, though this was all material that was new, but essentially Apocalypse is giving him the power. So so Apocalypse says, "Human, you're hardly in the position to make demands. I am Apocalypse. You may consider me your benefactor. I like your style, Magnum. I wish to offer you power beyond your wildest dream. Out of the kindness of your own heart," he says, "you cause chaos. I thrive in it. To paraphrase Nietzsche, whatever does not kill the race makes it stronger. And in my world, to survive, only the strong will survive. And the strongest rule. I offer you the chance to join us. And the price, your freedom. You will no longer be your own man, but mine. And if I refuse, I teleport you back where I found you. Then I have no choice. No, the ultimate choice." So, Moses just says, "I'm yours." Thus, months ago, Moses Magnum's plan for conquest were reborn. So, when we get this exposition and this backstory, Apocalypse was actually responsible for all this. I absolutely love classic X-Men because of this stuff. So, alright, and so now Banshee's using his sonic scream here. "I've got to slide a wall of sound across the base of the island. Counter energy with energy blocks. Energy block Magnum's beam, then reflect it back inside." And Magnum's like, "Something's wrong. Must increase the power output. No margin for error. I have to match Magnum's energy frequency exactly. Glory, it hurts. Well, if I've got to go, at least I'll go in style." And he's screaming extremely loud. You can see covering their ears here. But eventually he vibrates at a frequency that causes the island to shatter. And so it says here that yesterday 100 tiny islands dotted this section of the North Pacific. Today there are none. So Misty and Colleen with some of, I would wonder if it's the Japanese, like, Guard, National Guard or Army. Sonar readings indicate that the whole shape of the seafloor has been changed. Seismographs the world over went off their scales. If all that energy had hit Japan, and so this guy here says, feels low, Miss Knight. Do we continue the search? Major, we've only just begun, she says. Please, Lord, I hope they made it. I don't want to have to tell Jean that the X-Men are dead. Hey, dead ahead, that light, Sunfire. And so they're happy they see him, and he flies them to see the X-Men. And of course, um, the I love it. Um, he's on top of Colossus' shoulders, and Storm has poor Banshee. And so we go to another page of supplemental material here. Tokyo University Hospital, the best, they say, in all of Japan. So you can see that it's snowing. Another Death Watch, Thunderbird, Jean, Hank, now Banshee. I wonder if it will ever end. Ours is a risky profession, Scott. Um, Spare me the platitudes. So looks like Scott is still in a foul mode. Um, in a kind of in an apologetic way, he says, I don't know. Maybe the times have changed. The villains are tougher, more ruthless. The stakes are higher. The consequences of failure and the price of victory becoming too much to endure. Do you ever ask yourself if what we do is worth the effort and the pain? And Nightcrawler says, and what of those millions, perhaps, who would have died if not for us? They must also be weighed in the balance. And so outside, you better have a reason for looking so good, partner. The best. I just saw the doc. I just got word. Thank the Lord. There's something brewing between you and Scott. That's our business. He's in pain, Misty. I think I can help. Is that so awful? So, the this would be Colleen Wing. So, you're my partner, Colleen, and Jean Grey's my friend. I don't want either of you hurt. That's all, she thinks. Maybe you're right. Maybe this is none of my business. So, they all get the news that Banshee's okay, and here's Wolverine just drinking his beer. So, all right. So 10 days later, so it's been 10 days, and so they're taking Banshee here. The doctor's dropping him off, and Banshee's wondering why nobody was there, but of course, they're all here. Welcome back, Sean. Merry Christmas. So, and of course, Banshee can barely talk here. Banshee forgotten that it was Christmas. It had slipped his mind. He's like happy because they say Happy Christmas, and Scott says, "Don't try to talk, Sean. From the look on your face, I think we can all figure how you feel. It's good to have you back with us, friends. Come on, have some punch." So, and Wolverine is still in costume. Sees Mariko. Um, I've been trying to see her all week, but she was never alone. Now's my chance. I gotta go, Dodo. Something personal, but don't worry. I'll behave myself. And so, Storm says, odd. I've never seen Wolverine act so gentle. It's a nice change. So much has changed between we six since we became X-Men. We began as loners and have grown into a family. Kurt. And he says, I just want to tell you that I love you very much, and gives him a kiss in the cheek here. Peter, is anything the matter? You've been withdrawn all day, little brother. Would you like to talk? No, yes, I don't know, Dodo. I feel as close to you as the X-Men is family to my own, and that's the problem. I have family. I think I am the only X-Men with a real home and roots, and tonight of all nights, I miss them, he says. And so we're now in Scotland, and Jean Grey is going to go see Moira McTaggart. Um, so she says, "Wow, it's midday and the sun's barely risen. No wonder Edinburgh, 700 miles below the Arctic Circle. Winter days are real short here. I guess it's good thing that since becoming Phoenix, my body hardly feels the heat anymore." And so here we have Moira McTaggart, the Multiple Man, and this would be Havoc and Polaris. So he's Cyclops' brother. They all say Happy Christmas, and so and this would be Jamie Madrox, the Multiple Man. So I envy your tan, says Moira. I worked hard to get it, Jean says. All right, you lot, listen up. The train station is no proper place for a reunion. And Jamie says, yes, Miss McTaggart, ma'am. Anything you say. Oh, hush, Jamie Madrox. You're incorrigible. Anyway, this is my plan. We'll spend a few days in Edinburgh, see the sights, celebrate Christmas, hear Jean's tale of her wild and woolly weeks in the Aegean, and then head north for Muir Isle. So we're going to end here with this guy here busting in and Angus McWhirter. So he's trying to break in here. So Chris Claremont, I really love how he kind of ties things here. So Angus McWhirter, he once rented the X-Men a hovercraft that was destroyed, and ever since, even though he was paid in full for his loss, he nursed a deep and growing hatred for them, and for anyone connected to them. A few well-placed charges ought to wreck this accursed place. And if some people get hurt along the way, much better. And then he's like, hey, what's that? And human, I need you. Oh my God. He doesn't even have time to scream. Muir Isle, Christmas Day, a life ends, and a nightmare is born. So we all know where this is going, but that's all right. So next issue, Wanted, Wolverine, dead or alive. So if this were regular X-Men, we would have ended our tale, but there is supplemental material. So first of all, some of the edits that were made, which you can see here, mostly um, in the dialogue and the coloring and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, so here we go. We got a backup story here, drawn by John Bolton. So this story is told in first person, and Wolverine is telling. So it's kind of like a little solo story. So darn fuses are too short. Those cheap creeps at Central are always making the fuses too short. Why do I gotta take these lousy side jobs? I got a full life as an X-Man. Why do I sneak away to do this dirty work? Maybe I want to keep some part of myself hidden from them. Who knows? And Central always begs me. These pathetic creeps. They just love to use me as a dog. My senses are better than any animals. They know I'm the only one who could have found this place. Then those creeps tell me what's bigger creeps the other side is. Always secrets to burn, men to hunt. So Wolverine looks like he's getting a bomb ready. And that's all they know. Secrets that breed more secrets. Secrets is there ain't no secrets. Blasted short fuses. Well, now they made my fuse pretty short too. They'll find out when I get back to headquarters. So, boom. So he did not have a chance to get away too much. You see he kind of starts getting burned. Great. Naked cold, miles away from anywhere. Only one thing to do. Start walking. Ha. This is bear country. Mountain lions, bobcats. From the hunter to the hunted. This wilderness has a bite. It has claws. So what? And you see snicked. So do I. And so Wolverine's walking, but someone's following him. And so he thinks it's a Sasquatch. So John Bolton's the great illustrator, and of course he sees this, and Just don't look in its eyes is the name of the story. And he goes, he sees me. How could he? Impossible. He's too far away. But is is there a moment when the line between hunter and hunted snaps taut? The moment when I realize I've got him and he realizes he's dead. Yes. First there's the game, the dance, the slow teasing chase, the fugitive glances, the glimpses of your prey, his wild frantic glances, and then the tug of war of spirits of wills. A wire of tension draws tight, like the umbilical cord. We're bonded forever, bound by the life and death chase. The fuse of life burns shorter, bringing us closer. Ah, and the final intimacy of the kill. Does the poor dumb beast know his fate? Can he guess? He senses his fate shadowing him silently, invisibly. No, this time I am far too silent, far too stealthy. So, and Wolverine now says the opposite. If that idiot was any louder, I'd need earplugs. He's really beginning to bug me. All his crashing about is attracting every slavering carnivore for miles. And he's only got a gun, and I don't, and I don't. I can smell its sulfur stench. Who does he think he's tracking? Some blind, dumb, deaf beast? So Wolverine knows he's there. Great, great splash page here. And I'm too cold to bother losing him. My mutant fast healing ability can barely keep up with the frostbite covering my feet and hands. Maybe I'll ambush that jerk for his warm parka and boots. Listen to him crash about, the great white hunter jerk. So, and so he's remembering his first hunt, which was a fish, and then getting into other stuff, shooting this poor deer here. And so he sees a grizzly. So we know Wolverine and the grizzly are going to fight. And a wonderful panel here. John Bolton has shown so many different sides of him and his art. Beautiful art, messy art, cartoony art. So Wolverine ends up killing that poor bear. And so he even apologizes to the bear. And so the guy sees the arrow takes an arrow and shoots it. Wolverine catches and throws it back in his leg. And he's like, what? How? A dumb beast, how? And Wolverine keeps walking off. So that is the end of the tale. This is a X-Men Lost Tales, which included backup stories from here. Classic X-Men 3 through 5 and 12's backup story. Art by Kevin Nolan, who is absolutely one of my favorites as well. And then this would have been the back cover. Beautiful. Classic X-Men number 25, Chris Claremont, John Byrne, Karen Doyer in the supplemental material, and then John Bolton in the backup. Like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.